The fragile ceasefire framework between Israel and Gaza has inched forward, yet the core questions remain unresolved. The fate of the terrorists held by the Israel Defense Forces IDF in Gaza still looms large, and the militant group Hamas continues to assert it is searching for 4 slain hostages that are still being held in Gaza. This week's repatriation of Lieutenant Hadar Golden's remains after 11 years in Gaza highlights one of the few tangible outcomes of the ceasefire deal. But behind the moment of relief, tensions over the deeper implementation of the agreement are rising. Hamas has yet to return the remains of 4 hostages, 3 Israelis and 1 Thai worker, in violation of the ceasefire terms. Israel has stated that until all these remains are returned, the issue of roughly 200 Hamas terrorists hiding in tunnels beneath Rafah in territory nominally under Israeli control will not be settled. Prime Minister Netanyahu reportedly met with Jared Kushner, one of US President Trump's senior advisors and son-in-law, to explore a deal which would allow these terrorists to be granted safe passage to a third country. However, as of now, no country has publicly committed to receiving them. At the same time, no nation has stepped forward to join the proposed Arab-Muslim International Stabilization Force that would secure a post-Hamas Gaza scenario. In the interim, United States commanders at the Civilian Military Command Center in Kiryat Gat are said to be coordinating with Palestinian militia groups in the Gaza Strip opposing Hamas. While the State Department has denied that Kushner met in person with militia leader Yasser Abu Shabab, the broader picture is one of a ceasefire plan that increasingly resembles a complex jigsaw puzzle with missing pieces. Hamas, meanwhile, is rearming, retrenching, and continues to pose a threat to Israel and the IDF under conditions of strategic uncertainty. Turning to internal politics in Israel, Strategic Affairs Minister Dermer has resigned after 3 years in office. In his resignation letter addressed to Netanyahu, Dermer stated, "In our darkest hour, the people of Israel had worthy leaders." He also praised the Prime Minister by stating, "Experience and strong leadership. When the truth comes out and the facts are known, I am confident that appreciation for your leadership will be even greater." Dermer declared that he felt his mission to confront Iran's nuclear threat, bolster Israel's alliances, and help bring hostages home had been fulfilled. And he added, "The light of our eternal people will continue to burn bright for generations to come." Though stepping down from the government, Dermer will serve as a special envoy for some issues, such as the expansion of the Abraham Accords. Separately, the IDF bid farewell to Colonel Aviadre, its Arabic language spokesperson, after nearly 2 decades in the role. Known in Arab media circles as Mr. Evacuate Now for his wartime warnings to civilians to leave active zones, he built a large following through transparent and direct communication in Arabic. His departure marks the end of an era in Israel's Arabic language outreach. Meanwhile, a major diplomatic shift is underway on Israel's northern border. Syrian President Ahmed al-Sharaa is in Washington for a historic visit, the first by a Syrian head of state to the White House since Syria's modern independence. He confirmed that Damascus is in direct negotiations with Israel and said the two sides have gone a good distance toward an agreement. Al-Sharaa is demanding that Israel withdraw to the positions held on 8 December before any final deal is sealed, including from territory south of the Golan Heights buffer zone. He further said the United States supports this demand. President Trump has publicly backed Syria's position. "I will do everything I can to make Syria successful," he told reporters, adding that he sees Syria as a potential partner. For Israel, these developments raise serious strategic questions. Would Israel accept withdrawal to pre-December positions while still retaining the steer buffer zone it considers essential for defense? Could any agreement redraw the northern frontier for decades ahead? The United States is acting as chief broker between Israel and Syria, and with al-Sharaa's Washington visit and American backing tipping the balance, Israel finds itself negotiating under conditions it may view as unpalatable. This may be a pivotal moment for the future of stability or renewed conflict on the northern front. As these diplomatic efforts unfold, other military fronts remain active. Lebanon, Gaza, and possibly Iran are each heating up. To speak on the wider Middle East context, we talked to Dr. Fatih Ismail, a research fellow at Reichman University and former senior US congressional staffer. Dr. Ismail said first that rebuilding Syria as a functioning state is in everyone's interest for security, economy and stability. But he was blunt. I just don't trust these people. I have never seen any agreement that they have adhered to in their lives historically. On the Lebanon threat, he warned that the Syrian government may have relaxed its border control with Lebanon in order to convey its influence in the Iran-Hezbollah rivalry. He noted, we talk about Hezbollah, the Syrian government is already using our concern with them to make us get closer to Syria as much as possible. He added that we are still very much in the beginning of this phase, not the end. Turning to the plight of hostages, freed Israeli hostage Matan Zanga has given his first interview after more than 2 years of captivity. While the full list of remaining hostages is not publicly disclosed in full detail, Israel confirms that there remain 4 fallen hostages in Gaza, all killed during the 7 October massacre, whose remains have not yet been returned. These include Dvir Or, a 48-year-old chef and cheesemaker, and his wife, who were murdered and whose children were still abducted into Gaza, later freed during the November 2023 ceasefire. Meni Goddard, 73, a former professional soccer player and combat veteran, murdered alongside his wife. Ran Gavil, 24, a police officer serving in a special patrol unit, killed while defending the country and abducted into Gaza. Sudaskin Talek, 43, a Thai agricultural worker, the only non-Israeli among the remaining remains. Hamas claims it cannot locate their agriculture bodies due to chaotic circumstances in Gaza, though it did earlier agree to return all hostages, dead or alive, within 72 hours of the ceasefire, which it has not done. According to Zanga, his captors used psychological tactics, feeding him false reports of destroyed Israeli tanks and killed soldiers. Discovering his mother's tireless campaign to bring him home helped keep him going. Once all 4 fallen hostages return home, it will be the first time in more than a decade that no hostages, alive or dead, remain in Gaza. But from Israel's perspective, that return remains a precondition for moving to the next stage of the ceasefire plan. On another front, the regime of the Islamic Republic of Iran remains a major threat to Israel. In recent weeks, Iran attempted to assassinate Israel's ambassador to Mexico, confirmed by Iran's foreign minister. At the same time, Iran is grappling with crushing sanctions and a deep economic crisis, while continuing to funnel funds to proxy groups across the region. Political analyst Rahman Parham described Iran's internal situation as dire, a massive drought threatening the capital, Tehran's water supply, rampant youth, unemployment, inflation, widespread corruption, and a sense that the government is non-functional. When asked how Iran can still finance terror proxies while its own people suffer, he said, it is common knowledge that the so-called resistance proxies have cost the Iranian people significant amounts of money over decades. He added he sees indicators of a second round of military confrontation between Iran and Israel and possible strikes against Shiite militias in Iraq, Lebanon and elsewhere. In other news, the newly renamed Ben Gurion University has launched an AI-powered video series, David Ben Gurion Speaks, which digitally brings Israel's founding prime minister to life. The university emphasizes its resilience after a missile strike in June 2025 destroyed buildings and research infrastructure. Its message, the pioneering spirit, endures. Meanwhile, Israeli experts are sounding the alarm about critically low water levels in the Sea of Galilee. Water levels have dropped more than 2.5 metres per year on average in recent years, a far faster decline than previous droughts. On Tuesday, the lake's level fell below 34.5 metres below the red line threshold that marks critical shortage. While desalinated water is being pumped from the Mediterranean, experts warn that the resource continues to diminish and Israel's only natural freshwater lake may be in serious trouble. Looking ahead, while cloudy skies and light rain are 15 expected across much of the country tonight, Temperatures are forecast to hover around a low of 17 degrees Celsius. Tomorrow will bring more clouds and partly rainy showers with highs near 25 degrees Celsius. In sum, Israel finds itself simultaneously navigating a delicate ceasefire deal with Gaza, facing an evolving front in Syria, managing leadership changes at home and keeping a wary eye on Iran and the region's shifting geopolitics. The picture remains far from stable, but the next moves could prove decisive.